right. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming. My name is Matt Sprintz. And like Eva said, I'm going to talk to you about how to deal with errors. It's maybe not the most sexy, fun topic, but for some reason, it's become a passion of mine. Not sure why. So I started a company called Brintum about 13 years ago. I've been sitting here at Epicenter with a few team members for 6 years, I think. Very happy here. I'm from Lund, so if you don't understand my accents, and now you know why. And at our company, we make scheduling tools and very advanced UI components for web apps, which eventually led to us developing testing tools and as well as error monitoring tools, because dealing with large-sized JavaScript codebase is very, very tricky when it comes to having high quality. We found. So I think we have all been guilty of this. Like we test in production. If there's some error, the user will let us know, I'm sure. That's at least my understanding. And if you want to know more about us, we're on Twitter and we have a website, of course. Would be strange otherwise. So just to set some stage and make sure we're all on the same page, when we talk about error handling, it means a lot of things to different people. I'm specifically going to talk to you about JavaScript. So who here has developed at least one line of JavaScript in their life? Okay, so that's good. That's good. So when I say errors, I mean unhandled exceptions in your web page. So not maybe that a script failed to load, or an image failed to load, or the server was down, or the server took too long to respond. An error is kind of a vague, wide concept. And errors can, of course, occur in your code, but also in the frameworks code that you use, database backends. There's so many different realms where we can have troubles, and it's important to understand that as we go further. And if we put on the end user hat, it doesn't really matter where the error is. If there's a problem, they won't like you. You're their interface, right? They're on your web page. You have to make sure you and everything below you in your stack works. It's tested before you go to production, ideally. And these days, like if you go back maybe 15 years, the server was king and just spitting out HTML. There was not so much interactivity, maybe some jQuery animation scripts. That's not the case anymore. Now the client is king, the server is more dumb, passing JSON back and forth for a lot of the cases. Of course, we're taking a step backwards now with the server-side rendering, so we're going back to that a little bit. So it's now a wide range of ways to deal with apps. But as long as we have massive size JavaScript code bases, we can't really ignore errors. And the good news, it's easy. So it's not as scary as it sounds. And raise a hand if you've seen this screen as a developer, some red on the console. That's what we see. So that's easy for us to understand when something goes wrong. If you're an end user at let's say a shop, and you're clicking add to cart and there's no reaction, of course, what do they see? That's to be determined. We don't know that. And only you as developers of that site will know that. So if you do nothing, they won't see anything, because it's unlikely they have the console open, right? So most likely you'll have a disappointed user and bad user experience. If you're really unlucky, they go to your competitor because they didn't have a good time on your site. So really there's two scenarios for the end user. Either you capture the error and show them some pop-up, like we screwed up, please try again, please contact support, yada, yada, yada. Or nothing happens and they'll probably try again, because that's what we do as humans. We just reload the page, try again. And then, if you're lucky, then if they love you enough, they'll send you an email, call you, knock on your door, etc. So that's really it. And just to make sure we're really synced up, also just for fun context, I was getting to know an SEO agency in the UK to get some help with a WordPress site. And I always have the console open, so I was not super impressed when I saw just spitting out tons and tons of red. So this doesn't make me super confident in having these guys come in and do our web work if they can't even keep a clean house. So I'm a bit of a, let's say, console snob, if that's even a word, but I like to see clean things. So if I open a web page that has tons of JavaScript, this is what I want to see. I don't want to see your 404s or problems. That makes me So that's kind of what I like. So this is just one of those things where, as a developer, we immediately see what's wrong on the page, and almost every page has something. LinkedIn has like a gazillion errors. Twitter, Facebook, that just shows like if even these mega companies can't do it. So if I just prepared some a simple something I stole from GitHub, some dashboard, which looks kind of snazzy. It's just straight HTML with some JavaScript to refresh the charts, and pretty nice looking. And then by mistake, I screwed up this button. So now as an end user, I want to see the settings. I want to change something, but I'm going to click harder, like that would help, and nothing happens. So of course, if I go to the console, there's red. So now at least, okay, I know that something's wrong. And don't we all wish that all errors was like a missing, misspelled true word or a console log statement? So this is really what I mean when I say errors. And we can also have other types of errors, like you can notice also I intentionally messed up the URL. So that's two things that's going to make me as an end user not like this page. I can see that the error nothing happened here, and the image just looks screwed up. So poor user experience. And then let's talk about the cognitive process for us as developers. So there's like a debugging process. We can't just jump into fixing the thing right away. There's a few steps to follow. So if we look at the bug fix lifecycle, of course, the bug has to happen. It has to occur. There's the occurrence. Somebody has to report it to you, like make you aware that something is up. You go to the web page, try to reproduce, investigate, I think, click around. Okay, then hopefully you get to see the red. That's of course one cognitive good step in your brain. And then you take it back into the cave and start working at a fix. And then you deploy that, verify, and hopefully tell the user. So there's like a chain of things. It's not like a 1 second fix. So this is one of my favorite cartoons for developers. Like and this happens every day to us, unfortunately, because we have customers who are developers and they say, okay, we have a problem. Okay, tell me more. Okay, well, if I do this, okay, how, where, what page are you on? Like, users just love to leave out context. And as developers, if we don't have context, what are we supposed to do, right? GTFO. So that's really it. And we don't use this language in our forum, but we say it gently, like, please produce us a test case, a stack trace, show us the error message, all this stuff. But we do this over and over again, every day, 24/7. It never stops. So I'm kind of plowing through this. It's normally 1 hour, so stop me if I'm going too fast. But our debugging context wish list looks something like this. Like, at the bare minimum, give me the error message. How else will I know what's up? What file and the line number, call stack, of course, maybe a screenshot of what the screen looked like. Are you in the card page? Are you on the landing page? What screen are you seeing? Maybe there's something in the UI that can show that something is off. Step-by-step description, which is great, but then of course they always leave out step number 3 or 8, like, oh, you logged in after you did it, okay. And of course, seeing what happened on the console log, maybe, anything like that. And if you're lucky, if you have the user around, you can peek over their shoulder and they do it for you. If you're working on a big company where you have testers, they can come to my screen, I'll show you what I did. That also works. That kind of gets the nails hammered in. And of course, when you're able to reproduce it yourself on your own box and you have a live breakpoint, you made the app crash, then you can walk the stack trace, you can look at variables, you can see the state. That's the home run for us. And of course, on your own local host in your favorite browser, so you don't have to, now we don't have IE anymore, but in the old days, you don't want to even debug it in IE because that sucks. So once you have that breakpoint, debugging is kind of it's like skiing. It's like nice. You enjoy your life, like an ostrich riding in the Austrian Alps. Then I like this part. I don't like the actual thing leading up to actually like chasing the bug. Once I have the bug, I like actually fixing the bug. It's like a crossword or Sudoku. But this chasing the info is so depressing, and yeah, nobody likes that. So for me, a live breakpoint in my Chrome is that's worth 1,000 call stacks in text. So how do we, what are the common approaches to deal with errors? So of course, ostrich model, excellent, very, very cheap, fast, and downside, it does nothing. Bugs will live forever. But a lot of people do that. Like we saw the SEO company, they obviously, they're happy with having a shitload of 404s, 500, who gives, it's yellow. The other one is, letting the customer find the error and email you. I guess this also happens in every application, and you have to send them back, okay, I can't reproduce it, can you let me know some more? And you end up in this, ongoing, days turns into weeks we age, we hand the bug over to our kids, and they're like, okay, Daddy, how do I reproduce? And they hand over to their kids, and it just like, generations pass, and the bug is not fixed. So it's just too big and just wastes resources. I can't see any pros in this one at all, but just endless amount of time wasted, and unhappy user. We can roll our own. So how many of us has done this in your app? Like create your own error logging tool. All right, 2. All right, 3. So good thing. I mean, this is like 3 lines of code to make sure you get a ping, which is better than nothing. Then you know, and it's scary. Once you know, you kind of wish you didn't know, because the web is an ugly place. So this gets called a lot. Even if you have a perfect code base, you're gonna fight with plugins that mess with the DOM, stuff that's outside of your control. You can never protect against that. Translations plugin like Google Translate, when they run on the page, they screw up your DOM completely, change strings, change everything. So be prepared for, there's like a before and after knowing on what's happening on the page. And of course, here what you get is awareness. You get, like with 1 hour of investment, you get good awareness. You know what's going on. You still have to scan a lot of code because you don't get to know too much. You will get like a call stack and maybe a page URL, some basic stuff. There's also a million of these third-party loggers. Has anyone seen one of these names before? Like Sentry, Airbrake, Raygun, and these are all kind of like legit companies. They're probably 10 million plus revenue US. So doing great. Sentry, I think, is the world leader of things. They've been around forever. So, and this is like a growing, because it's so easy to set up. Like you saw those 3-4 lines. You start logging that, make a sexy dashboard. Then you have something that actually people can use. You can get metrics, aggregations, errors per page over time, stuff that's actually, it's interesting, like in a meta sense. It doesn't help the developers fix the bugs, but it's still something. So you can get a ton of data to wade through: call stacks, console logs, AJAX requests, what the user did. So it makes you better at searching for the error. You know where to start looking, and it gives you hints. But still, it takes a lot of work to do that manually, and that's something we don't have so much of. So how many is doing, like, hoping for leaving the reporting to be at the end user here? I think that should be the majority. And there's no shame. I do that too. So email as well, I do that. Anyone roll their own? There was a couple. Anyone using Sentry or things in production? Yeah, working good?
Yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah?
We do a little bit of everything here.
Yeah, okay.
But the direction is Sentry.
Yeah, not the ostrich.
No.
Good. Makes me happy. And this is actually, this is an area, since this is a problem that every web developer shares. There's no web app that doesn't have this issue. So there's a fair bit of evolution in this space, just because it is so hard that we have to have these gazillion third-party tools to help us out. It is a very hard area, and there's a lot of evolution. Whenever there's a problem, somebody will try to solve it, of course. So if we talk about first generation, we're looking at tools like Sentry, Rollbar, Track.js, Raygun, New Relic, Stack Hunter, and the list goes on. I could add 20, 30 more, giving you basic error logging. Under the hood, it's all of what I showed you before, those lines. Like listen for error events, send it to a server, and then do nice aggregations, charts, animations, etc. But it all comes from that error object. That's it. So you get call stacks, all the context, maybe who's logged in, how long they were logged in for. You can, sniff all the stuff that you see in the browser, right? Language, time zone, all that stuff is easy to snag. And yeah, you get a nice looking dashboard, statistics. So more focus on, I think, for the meta, the statistics and the charting around it. Again, focusing on awareness, gathering data. Now the second generation tools, this is where it gets interesting for me. So going back, remember I love context. I just don't want text. I want to see more. So the second generation tools, this started happening in about 6-7 years ago, I think. People started realizing we can actually record the DOM. So I don't know if you've seen tools like Full Story, Hotjar. Anyone? For user behavior analytics. So with that, you can actually look at the DOM, grab the mutations, stream them via WebSocket to a server, and then create some iframe context where you can play that back. So basically throw each DOM mutation into the DOM in a stream and and create something that looks like a YouTube video. So you can go back and with a slider, just like YouTube, and just see the permutations that the app was in visually. So then a bunch of companies started doing that. And that, of course, like for us as developer, that really gets that resonates with how I want to see the world. Like I want to see the end user's app state, right? And how it started from page load all the way to when they made the page crash. So this for me was super interesting, and it's more about showing you the bug, not just gathering the data and telling you about it. You actually get a visual representation, and this can be done without any plugins, any secrets. So it's just pure JavaScript. So we have companies like Session Stack, and yeah, here the terminology and the technology is all the same as well. They all base their stuff off something called Mutation Observer. Same with Hotjar, Full Story, all those companies, they built a SaaS around the Mutation Observer, which is pretty cool, now old. And there's a Google MIT license or Apache license library that can be used. I think it's on GitHub. That gets you a good starting point. Focuses on showing you the bug. I don't know who's heard about LogRocket, but that's a pretty fancy. I think these are the leaders of doing this. I think it started out as a Redux state time travel app, DVR kind of, like record everything and being able to jump to different points in the app lifecycle, which is pretty cool. So they record the entire Redux state over time. You can just push to any time along the error journey, which is pretty amazing when you think about it from a developer. You're almost now drowning in context, coming from only seeing the error message and the call stack to actually the full state. Of course, it eats memory in database, but that's cheap. Storage is cheap. And what the cool thing is here is they go even one level higher than just showing you a video. You can actually play that state now and crash the browser, which, I mean, again, going back to my earlier slides, that's the home run. Then once you see it in your broken Chrome, you can take over. It's easy. Look at the state variables, like figure out where the error was done in the logic, right? So it's just fast forwarding all of that boring, chase the context, actually reproducing it. All that stuff is automated. You come in when the fun starts. So, and this is really what this is close to my heart. And yeah, so these are some of the ones. There's probably 5 or 10 more, but they're like, some of it is pure analytics, like how are people using my apps, and there are even companies now focusing only on detecting rage clicks. I saw a weird one where a company raised, I don't know how many millions of dollars just to build a tool that detects rage clicks, because that's again one thing and that's basically when you start clicking like this, it means you have a UX problem and you're about to lose the user. It's kind of same thing as having a JavaScript error, it's just more fluffy to detect. But so they built a company around that, which is kind of, there's just too much money. But rage click is something I see debated a lot now, and yeah, it makes sense because I do it all the time as well as when I'm disappointed. Yep. So this is the second generation tools. And also there's stuff happening in the browser itself. Chrome, as usual, leading the way. They now, this is not now, but they announced it in Chrome 96, January this year. So you can now record, replay, and do user flows in the Chrome DevTools. So there's a new recorder panel. Of course, you need a bit technology-savvy users, but if they can click and basically do what these tools do, you get like a Chrome file that you can plug into your Chrome and then play it on your box. So kind of achieving the same purpose. So if you can educate your users to use that, that's one way of not having to use any of these third-party tools. So Chrome, they're really on top of things with this. And then now the bad news. So remember, if you start using this, there's this fun word called GDPR, which makes us all happy. I hope not. So you have to be very careful, of course. If you think a few steps further, if you're doing a video recording of the entire user session, okay, what about passwords? What about the credit card entry? Name, I mean, it goes deep. So you really have to be careful here, because it's basically these video recording tools is giving guns to small kids. It's amazing. Well, okay, that analogy is not so good. You get a lot of things that you can do, which doesn't mean that it's a good idea. But you can do a lot of things with these video recording things. But one way of doing it, like recording these apps, is you can use this internally in your company as well, like between the testers and the devs. So instead of them having to open Jira tickets manually, GitHub, they can just use a tool like this to automatically create the content for the developer and just have that communication flow. Instead of uploading screenshots to Jira, making a video, uploading that to Jira, you can see where the time gets wasted. So GDPR has to be taken into account to scrub data or have opt-in for everything and so forth. So I thought I'd show you a quick way how to roll a simple error logger. So it's not more advanced than this, error, and then we can just do, for fun, console log, and hopefully that should get us something when I click there. You see we get the error event that has all the data, so you can pull the URL, the file that caused the error, the call stack. So that's of course easy. Just do a fetch request to your server, and then you have something. And I don't know, I spent like 3 seconds writing that line. So just store it somewhere and create a simple dashboard, and that at least you already have something, but prepared it to see a lot. And what's cool is also if you add a true, which means the error gets captured. There's 2 phases for events in JavaScript, capture phase and bubble phase. So this flag gets you the error in the capture phase, which has a nice side effect of also capturing image load or any failed resource loads on the page, which is also something you want to, if you want to get at that broken image. So you see now as I load the page, I immediately get an error, and that's happening because I added that true statement. So that's because we don't want to go to production with broken images, right? So that's not very hard actually to do this. Everything is centered about that error event MDN, and you can go here for more context. So the final minutes, I wanted to show you like how we do it. So we have code bases, yes, probably over 10, 15 megabytes of JavaScript across the company. So you can imagine that's a real pain. And we put all of our demos on the page. So for example, you see our schedule here, which is used by companies for scheduling things. And so we actually implemented our own error logging utility. And this morning I actually noticed a bug in our error monitoring system, so I thought I'd show it to you. So let's start from scratch. And let's play around a bit, do some things. Hey, FB, save. And then there's a bug here, unfortunately. This is real error, so I've already asked a colleague to look into it. And again, we have a type issue, so an embarrassingly stupid issue. Our test case is not covering this, but so this is not something I made up. This is real depressing stuff we have to fix. Anyway, but the cool stuff now, if I went over to our error monitoring tool that we built, you can see it shows us kind of how our errors vary over time. This is all coming from our live Brinton webpage. And this is the error I just produced on my page. And we can have a look at it. You can see the amount of data we're able to suck in here. So how often this error has happened, because of course you'll have like probably thousands of errors on your page. Which one do we address? We can't fix everything. So you want to go for the ones that happen the most, affect the most users, right? That's what you want to go for first, of course. So call stack, that's thing number one. Where did it happen? Which file? Of course, and this is also super interesting. It might be time zone related, browser related. So which browser, OS, window size? The app could look different. It's responsive. So the matrix here is like 10 dimensions deep. So there's so many things that could cause the errors. What plugins the user? We're able to suck all this data using just JavaScript. No plugins are used to have this data available. And then we append our own version, so we know what version of the product is. So maybe if this was a cached script, then maybe it was already fixed. So it's good to know that as well. And then we also capture a screenshot in JavaScript, which should start you thinking like, how the freaking hell is that working? So open source tool called HTML to Canvas, which we're using. So it basically snags, not a pixel perfect, but enough so that I can see, and we embed a crosshair as well, so where the last action happened that triggered the bug, and we embed the last action. So we have like an event logging script that just embeds it into the. So I can, as a developer now, it's basically like as a crime detective, you see a photo of somebody pulling the trigger. That's kind of how I see this. So as a developer, I'm immediately into context. I've no need to go to the user and waste their time and tell them, what did you do? It's there. And let's take it one more step. Of course, we talked about video, so here's the video. I'm going to slow it down a bit. So here's the video of what I did. So I can be standing drinking coffee and looking at the bug, which I actually normally do. And you can see exactly down to the pixel. And then this is where the last crash, you can see the mouse down indication there. I can go back. Maybe I couldn't follow because it was playing too fast. Let's go back a bit. Okay, well, so they typed, hey, Epi, that's weird. Character by character, everything. And this is not a video. It's just an iframe playing back that stream of HTML deltas that we got from the mutation observer. So there's a shitload of stuff going on here. And it's, most of it is built on pure open source stuff that you can find on GitHub. But this for me makes fixing this bug was like half a second fix. It's just a silly type error. But if I didn't have this context, I would be in the dark. Like this is not a good way to fix bugs. And then the next level, of course, is going for the LogRocket. Now I've seen the bug. What about having the tool help me? So I can actually also open up this in a real iframe and play the same events back, all using JavaScript again. So this is now the real page, and I'm playing the same sequence again. Again, I can drink coffee while the computer is doing the work. And then, it will eventually click there, and you'll have the crash, right? So that's two ways of basically having a visual error. So the visual video, but also the live environment, and then having it do the bug reproduction for you. And then you can jump in when it crashed. So because the point where I want to start working is when this happens. This is where I'm comfortable. Because now I can see, okay, that was easy. So so that's the tool we built. So I'm not going to sell you it, but this is something that we use every day to fuel our business, because it's just too much to handle. We don't have a full testing department, so we developed this root cause tool. So what this means in reality is everybody coming to our websites and playing with our demos, they're actually working for us for free as testers. They just don't know about it. And we're mining the data they generate. So it's basically crowdsourcing testing. Of course, we don't have any This is ideal because we don't have any sensitive data. We don't have any data entry at all. It's just dummy data, dummy JSON. In a real app, yeah, you don't have this luxury, but it can give you ideas of what you can do. You can have like we have a lot of customers, banks, and big enterprises. They, of course, they have a record button, and then you have to, sign a waiver. Okay, I'm okay. You're recording everything, and then off you go. And I think that is pretty much it. So summing up, yeah, don't rely on your users reporting bugs to you. They have better things to do. Automate your error reporting. Either build something yourself, use a third-party tool. There's 50 or 100 really good tools out there that will save you eons of time. And yeah, once you have your logging, don't forget GDPR, because lawyers will find you. And if you want to try our tool out at the root cause, we'll give you a nice Friends Epicenter discount, of course. And final slide. Any questions?